Welcome back to Tips and Tricks That You Didn't Know About Cosmotic Mission. I'm your host, Ian Davis. Let's get to it. All right, the first one is a tip for all those people who are cautious or worried about losing your drone. I have a built-in feature that helps you so you never lose your drone. So for instance, let's say here, let's say you're gonna fly way away. See what happens when you get to the edge, almost out of view. It just comes back. You can actually leave the game. You can imagine how easy it would be in space to lose something out of the visible horizon. I think I'll try again. Oops, lost a little control. So you can kind of see it spring. It comes right back. And to reference the tip from last time, just let go, it just stops. The auto thrusters come in, and it stops. Obviously. All right, this next tip. For all those who didn't know, there is a secret item in every level. And if you find it, and you bump into it, a little container. In the story, it's a container sent from Earth to help resupply your ship. So it's something that you can collect that helps you from home. So I'll show you. This is a little bit of a spoiler on this one, but this is an early level. Right now we are in 2-1's second galaxy, first location. And I will show you where the collectible is. So if you were to look behind this boulder, you will see a little flashing collectible container. You can fly over to it gently. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Hit it. Did you see that energy? That means you collected it. So that's a collectible. Now that container will actually show up from now on. It just will not be pulsing with a light. See, for instance, let me restart the level. And if you'll see, if you go look at the level, look at the same location, that pod is still there. It's just off. That's how you know whether or not you've collected it or not. The reason why I maintained its presence is that sometimes those pods can run into crystals or can be a plus or minus to the overall level design. So I didn't want the conditions to change whether or not you collected it or not. So in other words, you can imagine if I took it away, if you collected it, and the next time you played it, you would no longer be a threat to run into it or run into a crystal or something. So there you go. That is collectible pods in the Cosmotic Missions. So what does that mean, actually? So what does that collectible mean? So let me take you to where you actually see what you collected. In the ship, you turn around, and there's an elevator. Let me show you where that is. This is an elevator, right? Big gyro spinning elevator. You go to the bottom one, which is like the living quarters. Click on it. Takes you to the elevator. Now that you're in the living quarters, all the items that you've collected are shown. So let me see the one you got. This actually happens not to be the item that you collect in level 2-1. I just wanted to show you an example. What this item is actually a prototype of the original drone. And I wanted to include it to show you a little bit of the process. You may remember last week I talked about how the profile of the ship mattered, so you can see it from afar. Well, one of the reasons why I didn't like this one is because from the profile from far away, it's just a circle. It always is a circle, no matter how you look at it. And these little antennas, which I initially thought would be long enough or a big enough indication, you kind of get lost. So really all you see is that a circle. And it wasn't enough to help the gamer. So I changed design to the ship's design it is now to help you fly and pilot the drone. All right, the next tip and trick takes place in the living quarter. It's this button right here. If you wonder what that button did, it actually toggles the gravitation. If you, let's see here, let me grab this guy. All right there, hit the button, gravity turns on. And then you grab it, right? Drop. Grab it. Drop. And if you turn it off, you grab it, and it stays there. I left the gravity off by default because I think it's pretty fun to have things float around in space, because that's pretty unique to space. So we have a lot of games where you can play around with objects, like the Oculus Home, right? But not in zero gravity. So, but I wanted to toggle it because, for instance, you see this has a little base. So you could put this thing on the ground, and let me just grab another object, right? Here's a planet. Look at that. You could kind of set up a scenario or something. You get the idea. So there's a lot of other collectibles you can lay out. Different drones and different crystals and different spaceships. And they'll have little stands. So there you go. Toggle gravity. There's a little tip for you. I'm far away. Okay, the next tip all has to do with that red button. Don't push the red button. This is a self-destruct button. I could have I could have said something like a big warning label here or something, but one of the design challenges I had was to not use any English, any text. So in theory, it was multilingual. But, so, I made an icon of the ring icon I used before of it exploding. Hopefully you figure it out. And if you hit it, it's definitely telling you that something bad's happening. So you have 10 seconds to hit the button again to stop it. So I was thinking, like, why would I have this in here? You know, it seems like a lot of the movies I've seen, there's always this big red button that they push and it blows up the ship. It seems like kind of reckless and kind of a really bad design. But nonetheless, it's definitely a point of interest, and you may actually want to use it where you want to start fresh and start from the beginning. But what this does is a hard reset. You push this, and if it gets to the bottom, you'll find yourself back on Earth just as you first launched the game for the first time. It resets your score, your progress, and your collectibles. So this is something where, like, if you are showing somebody how to play the game and you hear this, you don't want to tell them right away to stop the countdown. So there you go. Don't hit the red button because it'll blow up the ship. Okay, this next tip is pushy thrusters. Now, what does that mean? Well, for a lot of scenarios, a lot of levels, the challenge might require you to push things without touching it, which is easier said than done. So I'll show you an example of how you can do that. Let's launch the drone. Go outside. Okay, perfect example. This crystal right down there, you cannot touch. It will blow up your drone. Let's say you want to move it. The main thruster actually emits a force. It's bigger, it's stronger, and it pushes your drone harder, but it also pushes outward. So if you were to think of it as a way to push things without touching, let me show you. Just get in position. Look at that. There's already pushing that one. If I get down, push, push, push. You can push it out of the way. Alright? That's really helpful. So you can rearrange things. You're definitely going to need to know that for some of the later levels. There you go. That's that tip. Alright, this next tip will save you a lot of time. It's really important. During the development, I did a lot of testings. I played a lot of these different levels. And every time, you change a level, you hit this button and a countdown will start. And then the effect of the big spinning rings and the wind up of the sound and everything takes about 12 seconds. Well, you can skip all of that by hitting the A button. The A button is on your right controller, and it's the general action button. If you hit the A button while the countdown is going down, it interrupts it and just skips it right to the load screen. Let me show you. Hit A. See? Much faster. So you can jump around from different levels really quick. That, hit that, boom. Very fast. But I encourage you, if you're showing someone in this game, to let them go through the experience at least once. But if you want to expedite your travels across the cosmos, hit the A button to interrupt the warp sequence. Alright, the last and final tip is the launch. You can hit, of course, we know that if you use your cursor, mouse over the big button and hit A, the drone will launch. I'm going to reset the level. But there's another way. Down here, I added a Y button to launch it. Now, why would I add the Y button to launch it? This button totally works. Well, I found that sometimes you want to be outside looking at the terrain of the map and then launch the drone. For instance, let me get to a good position. Okay, now I want to launch the drone. Now I can just hit the Y button and it launches. So you didn't have to go inside, hit the button, come back outside. I'm just ready to play. And here's the other part about that. Once the drone is outside, you hit the Y again, it resets. In this scenario, it reset and launched automatically. So why did it do that? If you're outside, you've already started the game, and you hit Y, it'll restart and launch. But if you're inside, and you started the game, and you hit Y, it'll restart and not launch. The reason why I did that is just because it gives you control. For instance, let's say you were trying to level for a while and you wanted the rapid fire to restart and launch. You can go ahead and do that from outside. But sometimes it takes a moment. You want to take a moment, step back and look at the level and say, well, okay, what do I need to do here? You don't want to have the timer already going and the drone already be launched. Sometimes even the drone starts a sequence that you'll have to react. So if you're inside, hit Y, it will restart and not launch. And there you go. There's the tips and tricks of the Cosmotic Missions. Pilot, space, explore, and collect. See you.